We've got a little bit of Disney fun going on throughout the day today on the show. I'm going to be playing Aladdin a little bit later on, the Sega Genesis classic. That's why this is on the desk here. But I also wanted to talk a little bit about this live-action recreation of the Disney animated classics. And what precipitated this conversation is I took a look at the Disney Dumbo 4K Blu-ray that they sent out to me for review, watched the movie again, and I had a big discussion with Johnny Millennium about Aladdin recently on the channel, on Film Fury channel. I wasn't impressed with that movie, the Aladdin live-action remake. I love the original animated. And Dumbo, I didn't have the same expectations when I saw Dumbo in theaters. And it was a bit of a letdown, and I think after watching the movie again, there's a few thoughts that came through my mind. It's kind of like a bummed-out version of the Greatest Showman. It's like everybody's a little sad all the way through, and it starts with heavy stuff. I mean, we have Colin Farrell coming back from the war, and he's lost his arm, and his wife has died of influenza while he was away. His kids are sad and forlorn. The circus that he worked at has had to sell all the horses that he used to have as part of his show. It's kind of like a big drag at the beginning of this thing. All the tents are sort of falling apart. It looks beautiful, but it looks sort of dark and gray and a bit dingy, and it's a bit deflating. And then Jumbo, this big, star elephant of the circus, has the little baby with the giant ears, and it freaks everybody out, and everybody starts calling it a freak and all that stuff. And then you see there's some lightness and some joy in the birth of this baby elephant, but then the immediate sort of antagonizing of this creature is kind of horrific to watch. And again, it bums you out. So it's just like, oh my God. And nobody's filled with any joy. But what happens through this, and I think this is it sort of permeates through a lot of Tim Burton's work. I was thinking about Edward Scissorhands. Tim Burton has a formula that he ties to his visual styles for sure, but he always focuses on oddball creations and how the kind of strange among us are worth celebrating, and Dumbo is really about that. And it was a much better movie, like a lot of these expensive movies tend to be when you watch it again, because you're not really focusing on your critical eye of it, your analysis of it, you're just sort of lost in the details of it. This movie cost $170 million to make, which was nuts. Disney gave this guy way too much money. But Tim Burton has had some big hits, and I think what the deal was, he's also got animation in his background, so he was able to, and you learn a lot of this on the excellent behind-the-scenes material, which really also brings you back into the production design and the creative embellishment of this title. But Tim Burton really could sort of understand how this movie would work as a revitalized animated feature. The elephants aren't real in this thing. They're all CG, not just Dumbo, but all the other elephants as well. And they're animated by incredible visual effects artists, but also by on-set athletes who put on green screen uniforms and are clambering around and letting actors push them and reacting like they're honestly having a real performance within these green screen suits. And it gives the other actors, Colin Farrell and the kids, who the kids are both very green. I think that was kind of an issue with this film as well. They didn't seem inauthentic. They just didn't seem, they couldn't perk this movie up, which was kind of too bad, because there are some standout elements in here. Danny DeVito is a lot of fun to watch. Michael Keaton is totally hamming it up, and he's a bit over the top, but it's fun to watch those two together, especially through the prism of the fact that Burton and Keaton and DeVito all work together on Batman Returns, which they talk a little bit about on the making of. I love Eva Green. She's one of my favorite actors in Hollywood. I feel like she doesn't get enough cred for the performance and the skill that she has. She's my favorite of all. We were talking about James Bond earlier in the show. She is my favorite female star in any James Bond movie. She was incredible as Vesper Lynd. And she's very good as Colette, this circus acrobat. And you learn that she trained really hard to kind of get over her fear of heights, and she does all of her own stunts and stuff, and, well, a lot of her own stunts. So it was nice to kind of see this film again. And what struck me as I watched it is that because Disney gave Tim Burton way too much money and a lot of freedom to come up with this kind of depressing beauty of a movie. And I liked a lot of the kind of turn of the century steampunk, Bioshockian kind of aesthetics of the film too. I loved this beautiful ornate amusement park that Michael Keaton's character has put together that is filled with hubris, and you can just tell that it's just too pompous and too big, and it's all going to come crashing down. I liked the hokiness and the family kind of aesthetic that is a part of Danny DeVito's circus, and the various menagerie of performers, like the mermaid that sits in the fish tank and she's eating a hot dog in a scene. Like a lot of this stuff just sort of flashed by me when I watched it the first time, and I just didn't get emotionally pulled in enough. And truthfully, this time I didn't either, but I respected and appreciated a lot more of this the second time. And a lot of it has to do with the beauty of it. Gorgeous shots, impeccable production value, impeccable costuming, some pretty fun performances, and lots of great little details. I have a theory that this is it's made about $350 million worldwide, which is about on par with what the Mary Poppins Returns movie made, which was also a terrific, revisit to a classic Disney franchise, which isn't high on the spectrum. Like the Cinderella movie has done really well. Aladdin's over $1 billion already. But I have a feeling that Dumbo is going to be one of these weird cult favorites for people. They're going to find it, whether it's going to be a late night screening on Disney Plus, or it's going to be the last movie that people, they've got every movie on Disney Plus, and we'll say, well, I haven't seen Dumbo yet, let's watch that. And they're going to think, man, this was pretty cool. Like, this is pretty ambitious, and they tried something here. And the thing that I like the most about it, unlike a lot of these animated recreations, is that it's less that. It's not really a recreation. They actually have one of the features on the Blu-ray, which does the Easter egg connection, where they show you pieces of the movie that kind of are similar to the animated work, but they deviated a lot. They didn't have talking animals. They didn't have the stork deliver the baby. The animated movie is very short, and this movie's, it's almost 2 hours, and there's a lot of different side stories and stuff. It's not a classic. It's not the best movie you're ever going to see, but holy crap, there's a lot of artistry in it. And for my money, it was more exciting to see than Aladdin. And one of the things that I think will make this movie special over time, and I fully expect The Lion King to be massive this weekend. I think people are going to be going crazy for it because it's going to be a safe recreation of things that people already love out there. And I haven't seen the movie yet, so I don't have a review for that yet. But one of the criticisms that I've heard about the film, and you can see it in the trailers, is that the animals don't emote at all. So you've got these talking, photoreal animals that wouldn't sing, because they don't sing. I don't know if you know this, but lions in the jungle, they don't really sing. So it looks weird that they're singing, But with Dumbo, there is no singing, but the animals emote. And so when you see Dumbo kind of tearing up when he's being pulled away from his mom, and the mom screaming and getting angry, it's like you feel for that. And there was some successful animation there and some successful direction there. So, I think it's going to be the long haul kind of. It's great that it's in their inventory, but I think when people look back at all of these live action remakes, Dumbo's going to rise in estimation, and some of these other ones, they're gonna fall in estimation, because the animated stuff can't touch that Lion King animated movie, man. You cannot touch Aladdin. Can't touch this. I like Dumbo. It's a pretty cool, weird film. It's kind of like a sad Greatest Showman. You can put that on the box right there. I'm gonna give it a 7.5 out of 10.